Hi, I'm Peter.
And I'm Katmia.
Welcome to the This and That Chat. Guys, if you could only see Katmia's face. Do you want to tell them why?
Yes, so...
Just take it off.
Can I? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think this is something we need to consider for sure.
Well, you don't eat it.
I know, but we were literally just shopping for some.
Okay.
So now we know I don't need it.
Now we know you don't need it.
But I still like them just for gaming.
Okay.
So you gave me headphones because just
after
random...
so many episodes.
Yeah, I know. It's just like a random surprise.
Where we would hear what from you? You would say, I can't hear the music. I don't know when I'm supposed to go in.
In my mind, I only hear it in my mind. It's like timing. We've talked about this so many times. And then you randomly surprised me with it. And I expected for it to sound just like our podcast sounds.
Right.
So the moment that I spoke, it sounded like a bad phone call where you can hear yourself and you're slightly robotic. And I'm very surprised that that's what you hear, because you're telling me that's what you hear as well. And that doesn't bother you at all. I feel like when I'm on a phone call with someone and I hear that, I have to hang up and I have to call you back.
For sure you're out?
Yeah, I can't do it with a headphone.
No. Okay.
And if it's not necessary, or maybe it's also the quality, no?
No, the quality's great.
I have to hear it from your side.
It's the exact same thing.
That's amazing.
You want to hear it?
No. I believe you.
Here.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, no, it's not going to reach.
Yep, there you go.
Okay.
It's not meant to be. Wow, I'm so surprised. That this is what people hear.
Yeah. It's the same thing because I had put those headphones on.
Wow. Anyway, so it's like they say, don't ever meet your hero, right? Because you're going to be disappointed. I had no idea this is what it sounded like. You know, because you watch people in podcasts. Not everybody wears headphones in their podcast.
No.
Have you noticed that?
It's not necessary. It was something I like to.
Well, you do it because there's music. So you're hearing the intro and outro.
Yeah, but I like to do it because I'm listening for buzzing in of the mic.
The sacrifices you have made.
No, because we don't have any buzzing. It's just if it comes up, I won't hear it.
Yeah, but you do signal me sometimes when it's like come closer to the mic, or like move away because I can hear what you're doing. Like I know that you're doing that, and I have never noticed that you're sacrificing so much to be able to ensure.
I'm not sacrificing anything. I love wearing the headphones.
Yeah, because you've gotten used to it.
I feel like the captain.
Wow, amazing.
I am the captain now.
So you were going to say that we've reached a milestone.
Yes. So we have reached a milestone.
What's a milestone?
That you didn't know.
What's a milestone?
Well, this is our 60th episode.
See, I feel like right now we should have already figured out how to interject sound effects. Because I feel like right now we needed to have one of those little, you know what I mean?
There it is.
That I know. And then like little confetti exploding. Like you can hear, and the person hearing would know, oh, I know exactly what that noise is.
That is something that we'll be able to do shortly.
But why?
Because there will be something that I need to edit into it.
Okay, so this is something new that you're going to be doing?
Well, I can add it into it.
Yeah, I'm saying, I guess it takes a lot more work, right? Because right now it's very easy. It's sort of whatever mess was put out there.
Well, we've done that from the beginning. We've always kept our mess very messy.
Yeah, there is. What, like, do you do any editing at all?
Very little. The only thing that I do is add the intro, outro music, put it into the spaces.
Do the
just cut cut like the end and cut the beginning so that there isn't the extra noise.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the podcast part of it, no, it's just straight through.
So adding little sound effects would be, now you have to kind of go in and
Yeah, but it wouldn't be, I got to listen to it and then just add it in. But coming in January, as we learned shortly, or a few episodes back, we are going to introduce our video podcast. So we are going to start recording our podcast, and you'll still be able to listen to it just like this on your regular podcast stuff. But on YouTube, we will have videos so you can see our faces when all the laughter and all the fun stuff happens. So be looking forward to that.
I feel like there needed to be more fanfare with that. Like, hey guys, we have a big announcement.
Well, we talked
something
about
to
it.
look forward to.
Okay, can we try again?
we haven't actually.
Well, we kind of been hinting at it.
Yeah, but it was just like, okay,
hold on. Shall we do it with more fanfare?
No, we've already done it.
We can do it with more fanfare.
Nah, it's already done.
Watch this. Hold on.
Oh Lord.
What? Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please your attention for this announcement. The This and That Chat, starting in January of 2025, will be available for your viewing pleasure on the YouTubes as a video podcast. Everyone, put your hands together. Woo. I did that on the spot.
Wow. I mean, I've got to give you credit. You put yourself out there for sure.
I did. That was a pretty good radio voice, I could say. I heard it in my head. It sounded great.
What else do you hear in your head?
A lot of stuff. I've learned to compartmentalize. Compartmentalize. Did I say that right?
You said it right the first time, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so in January, we will be available to be watched on YouTube.
Is that going to be in January?
In January.
Wow. That's amazing.
You don't seem convinced.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Editing and all that stuff,
yeah.
It just seems...
Ready to go.
Wow.
Look at. If you look at our area right now.
It doesn't look like a library anymore.
Well, hold on. Because all the stuff is out.
Mm-hmm.
But all the stuff is not going to stay out.
Okay.
Trust me, it's not going to stay out.
Okay.
But I've got the lights and I've got the stands and...
We are on two very different places in this, I think.
We are. We definitely are.
And I feel that for me, it's really just like a labor of love to let you have your moment in creating a video out of this.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talked a little bit about this. So one of my passion... Why'd you make me yawn? We already did this. Don't do this again. One of my passion things, things that I just enjoy doing. I always enjoyed doing video editing and stuff like that. And this gives me a chance to kind of get back into that a little bit. So yeah, it's a little bit of a labor of love. I think you're gonna.
From me though.
I know.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying I think you'll grow into it a little bit.
I mean, I never discount anything, because something that you may think you're not going to like can end up being something comfortable and pleasant even at some point. But it's definitely, there's no compromise here. This is really one of those times where in marriage it can't always be compromised. People who say, oh, that's what marriage is about, they're lying to themselves and to everyone else, because it can't always be a compromise. Sometimes it needs to be a complete seizure of the other person's land, as it were. A total conquest. And the other person just has to wave a white flag of surrender instead of deploying the troops. So we will see where this goes.
Yes.
I'm approaching it as open as I can, as willing to try things as I can, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
We have increased our followers and listeners over the last few weeks, like 5 weeks now. So just not boring with numbers because we're not going to do the numbers, but we're up 75% on our listeners.
But what does that mean?
It means that we have 75% more people listening to our podcast than.
So instead of 5, we have 7?
We have.
Give it to me like I'm 5.
So daily downloads, like we're like.
No, give it to me like I'm 5.
I don't know how to give it to you like I'm 5.
I'm like 5. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
More people are listening to our podcast every day, more than the day before.
I know, but if there's 5 people.
So if there's 5 people, then we now have 7.
Exactly what I said.
Something like that.
Okay, I see how that works.
But it's more than that.
So to say that is just because you feel like our podcast is in a point where it needs to evolve or grow or reach new heights. Okay. And this is how we're doing it.
So let me tell you, I'm going to give you my own review of why I think this is going to be awesome.
This is a good shift for us.
This is a good shift. Okay. So Nikki recently started listening to our podcast from the beginning. Right? She's driving for like Uber Eats and whatnot, and she's spending a lot of time in the car. So she decided that she was just going to start listening to the podcast. So she's been throwing little tidbits. Now, what that did was not encourage me, motivate me. It motivated me to go back and listen to our previous podcast. I started from the beginning, just started going random. And I have laughed so much. I have heard moments where I'm like, man, I only wish
there had been a video.
That there would have been a video for that. And there were several times that even out of your mouth, you said, man.
If people could see.
If people could see this.
Yeah. But I didn't actually mean that.
I understand that. But still, the truth of the situation is that if there would have been a video, it would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
It would have been fun.
Do you think so, though? Or do you think it's like one of those things where you think it's something so funny and then you tell someone the story about it and then they're not laughing and then you're like, you had to be there.
But now they are there.
I know, but I just wonder, I don't know. I feel like you have this idea or desire. I can't make up my mind for either one of them. For that we're going to be a thing at some point. Like we're going to take off, or, you know, that someday we're going to be like, remember us when we were just like nobody with 7 people listening, you know? And then now we've got like this massive following. Like I feel that you see it as it can be, right? And I first of all couldn't even imagine that anyone other than perhaps, and I'm not even giving it to them, perhaps family could want to listen to us yapping, okay? Let alone say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for video to come. You know? It just... So then what I have to do is think to myself that our kids are the ones... We were doing it for our kids to begin with, and our kids are going to say, look at mom and dad, you know? Listen. And then so it's for them.
So it's others. There's people other than our kids that are listening to.
Yeah, I know.
We had 56 people listen to our episodes yesterday.
What?
Yesterday.
How? What the
Careful. I don't know who's listening. I don't know. It to me,
Isn't that wild, though?
it's wild. It's wild. I don't know. I don't understand it. So there are people out there that are listening to us. I know I'm listening to a couple episodes. Nick is listening to a couple
there's a
episodes.
little something just like a little like surreal about the whole thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
No, not. I feel like I'm not even making sense. I just feel like there's something so like who cares to see us? You know? Is there I feel like I'm surprised to even hear that one person out there that is not family, okay, would say, I would love if you guys had a video podcast. That is surprising to me that there could even be one person who's interested in that, right? Because people are so busy with their lives and everything. And I will say this, and they are not podcasts, right? Except Joe Rogan, really. It's the only one that I've never actually heard his podcast on like an Apple podcast thing. I've always watched it on YouTube. And I don't know why I didn't know, or I didn't put two and two together, that he had an audio version only. I thought his podcast was the video.
right.
Okay. But I do enjoy watching people doing their podcast, not because I sit there and I watch them, but because I'm listening, and then all of a sudden something that they're laughing about, or they're like, oh, look at this, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what are you looking at, right? So I guess that the same way I'm interested, someone else is interested.
Here's the thing. We talk about so many random things. Like, our conversations are so off the cuff. We're just talking. I mean, we're 15 minutes in.
I know, and I feel like we have been belaboring over nothing.
I know, but it doesn't matter. It's just us having a conversation, and we've said this from the beginning. We're not doing this for any other reason other than a time that we're separating for us to have a conversation, to talk about things that are relevant to us at the moment, things that we can just laugh about, and then things that our grandkids or our kids in the future will be able to listen to and enjoy. Now they'll be able to watch it, and they'll be able to say, oh, look.
Yeah.
These are my parents. Hey, look.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I think about. I think about, you know what? It's for them. It's for them. And I have zero expectations of anything else. I have zero expectations of anybody logging in and watching us on video.
I'm showing you so you can see it. That was yesterday. I don't know. You know, and it's random because one day, like yesterday was 56. The day before it was 17. The day before that, it was 40. So it's like, the people that
Who's out there?
Who's out there? And the thing is, it was 56 yesterday and 40 a couple days ago. The people that were 56 weren't listening 2 days ago.
Wow.
So who are these people?
Yeah.
Who are you people? Go on our Instagram, send me a message. Let me know that you're not aliens.
What's the Instagram?
Or bots. The this and that, John.
Oh, it's so simple.
So simple. Anyways.
Yes. Pivoting
because
otherwise we'll get lost in the weeds here.
We wanted to talk about some other stuff today.
Of course. Specifically Christmas.
Yes. Why are we going to specifically talk about Christmas? Because this episode comes out on the day before Christmas. Also known as the 23rd. And if you're Hispanic, then it's the day before Christmas because Christmas is celebrated for the Hispanics on the 24th.
Is it really, though?
Yeah.
Or is it just
Nochebuena.
Christmas Eve, which is Christmas Eve around the world?
Yes, but
see, I feel like I disagree with you. I feel like Christmas Eve is Christmas Eve, and Hispanics Latin people, right, celebrate Christmas Eve, but it's not Christmas to them. It's just their big party.
Right. But then on Christmas Day, they do nothing.
Right. Because Christmas Day is for relaxing.
Right.
Right. But it's still just Christmas Eve.
Either way you look at it,
We don't do that, though.
this episode comes out on the 23rd, right? At which point we will be
Far, far away.
on a far, far away cruise that we are taking for
I think we had said that
for
already.
Christmas. We did that last time. So
I'm very eager to come back and say what that was like.
Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, it's very different also.
It is going to be very different.
And that's kind of, to end the year with the theme of if there was one thing that stuck out about this year for both of us was that we did a lot of different. A lot of different, right? Different foods, different activities, different places, different everything, different routines. It was just very different. So, I mean, for me, Christmas has always been something that needs to be in the cold, right? We need to go with the songs. You need to have a roaring fire, chestnuts roasting by an open fire, sleigh bells, white winter wonderland, right? All these.
And Mariah Carey.
God bless.
No?
Lord have mercy. Okay. I can't stand that song.
No? It's
I
tradition.
know that I'm sure I've triggered a lot of people, but I can't.
It's tradition for people. For a lot of people, Mariah Carey is tradition.
I guess. Yeah, sure. To each their own. Don't ick someone else's yum. Right?
I'm with you.
But
I don't want to hear it.
But bottom line, instead of going to somewhere that's cold, cabin, doing our traditional Christmas stuff, we are going to Mexico. We're doing a warm Christmas, right? And that sort of brought up for me just a question that I ended up posting on our family chat, not with our kids, but with my siblings, my mom, the spouses, everybody like that, right? We have a very big family chat. It's called Forever Family. There's a story behind that, which one day I'm going to get into that. But there was Forever Family and Forever Family 2.0 at one point. But Leah can share with us. We'll call Leah one day and we'll have her be on the chat and have her talk about that.
Get some people in trouble.
But it's funny. Anyway, the question that I put was, what is your favorite Christmas time memory? Whether that be gift, activity, tradition, event, etc. And why? All right. And the reason that question was triggered in my mind or not triggered, but the reason I asked it was because the whole thought of going on this hot Christmas vacation, right, reminded me of a song that used to play in the radio station we'd listen to as kids. And it was a song about a hot Christmas. If you paid me right now $1 million to sing you the song, to hum you the song, to even give you any other line other than it talked about a hot Christmas, I am unable to do that.
I bet you anything.
Do you remember that song at all?
Yes.
And I feel like it was like...
It's a parody.
I know it is. But what
joke.
song?
I believe it was on Power 96.
No. It was definitely WMCU. Okay. But I didn't want to confuse you because maybe you have such a good mind for these things. But it's like instead of doing jingle bells, they changed the word to jingle bells to say, jingle smells. That kind of way, right? So whatever, maybe it was White Christmas that they changed and put Hot Christmas instead. But the whole thing They loved playing this song in the radio station WMCU, and they would be like, tomorrow's weather is going to be 81 degrees just in time for this holiday hit, Hot Christmas. And then the song would start, all right? I have searched the galaxies. Do you understand me? I have searched the interwebs. I have asked Copilot and Siri and everybody, can you please help me find the song? And they're like, there isn't anything specifically that comes up. And I'm like, why? Now, here's the thing. I know one of my siblings remembers the song. In fact, I'm banking on the fact that Mel, because Mel said that she loved that song. And I think maybe Sal also had said that she likes that song. Maybe it was Mary. But there's more than one sibling who loved that song. So they should be able to remind me what that was like. But anyway, I loathed that song every time it would come on because I felt like they were jinxing the weather. Instead of us being able to have a cold Christmas, because they were singing about a hot Christmas and how much, it was like, oh my God, we enjoy it so much. It's Florida. It's a Christmas, a hot Christmas in Florida. It's like, stop singing about it. Nobody wants that. But apparently there was a lot of people who are huge fans. So I'm surprised.
Well, people come down to Florida for hot Christmases.
You're right. You were right about that. I mean, people go on a tropical vacation during Christmas time because they want to escape the cold, It's the classic story of the people who have the cold don't want it and the people who are hot want it. And, it goes like that for everything. You want what you can't have.
So where do you place us? Because we're going on a hot Christmas.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So the fact that we were going on a hot Christmas reminded me of this song, I could see myself as a child rolling my eyes when the song would come on, being almost upset by the fact that the song was playing, right? And then, great, now it's not going to be cold like I want it to, right? I always wanted it to be so cold that I had to be bundled up on Christmas morning. That's what I wanted, And it never happened. And then that made me think, I wonder who else remembers the song. Not only that, but I wonder what everyone else's memory of Christmas is, right? Like what stands out to them. So that's why I posed that question, and the answers that started coming in from them, just so you know, I've had independent conversations of all those answers that came in. And I had several people tell me that it was such a wholesome question to ask. It brought up so many amazing memories for them that some people had tears, recalling different events and stuff that they hold in their heart for Christmas, that it just ended up being something so beautiful, right? To kind of bring people together to talk about their Christmas memories. And what I ended up seeing is that a lot of the same things that stand out to me about Christmas, those are the same things that stand out to them about Christmas, right? So the common theme in that was the manger, right? And I think that most people would call what we used to do a nativity, right? I think so. We called it the manger, right? And so my dad built a corner table. And I think this was later in the years that he actually built something fancy, because I don't think we had anything that fancy to begin with. But in a corner of our living room, he built a special table, right, where we would cover it with that buffalo blanket, that white
buffalo snow.
Yeah. Okay. We would cover it
snow
with that. And then my mom had collected all of the little porcelain houses and all that stuff, and a ton of people and little animals and all that stuff.
There was a lot of people in that thing.
And now, oh my gosh, right now, I
Where
just had a
is
thought.
all that stuff?
I have all of our stuff.
Right, I know. That's our stuff, but where is all
That
that
is a
stuff?
great question. I'm going to ask that
Because there was a
question.
lot of stuff.
Now, I do remember that before they moved, she asked everybody, like, pick your favorite piece from the manger. Okay. And then she gifted everybody the pieces she wanted. I want to say that she gave most of it away because she just doesn't have the space for it. I do wonder if anyone has the bulk of it, right? And I
Who
have
has
my pieces.
who has the main the
Yeah, I wonder about that. I'm assuming it would be Mel. I don't know why, but we'll find out. Um, but I just had a connection to something like I have such a love for miniature things, right? I love seeing like when they build those little those train stations. What are they called? Like the model
yeah, the
train
models.
and all that stuff. I love to just look at the scene that they've set and these little miniature people living their little miniature lives and we were recalling on the chat of that was something that you could just stand there and just look at the manger and pretend that you were part of it because the way it was built was the nativity part of it was placed at the top of a little hill that was all the way in the back, surrounded by pines, and I'm doing quotation marks, right? Because they were the leftover tree trimmings from Publix where they would cut the tree. We would go to the guy and say, "Is it okay if we take the stuff from the trash?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, take it. Who cares?" Right? So we'd bring all these little things that they've cut from the Christmas trees and we'd create like this enclosure, this, what would you call it? An enclave, right? Into this like little nativity scene, right? And so now you've got like the fresh pine smell and everything. And then as you go down into the valley, right, where all these little people live, there's people going about their business. You know, there's a little school here, there's a little store here. We would go outside and get little rocks and create like a little path or little sticks and cut them up so it was firewood. There was just all of this stuff going on, right? And then my mom at midnight on Christmas Eve, she'd put baby Jesus in the nativity, right? So the whole time, all of December, when we would build it, it would just sit there without baby Jesus because he wasn't here yet, right? And it was the thing that we would look forward to. The same way that other kids look forward to Santa coming and we're going to, you know, you've got to go to bed because Santa's coming, whatever. That's what we were supposed to do. And no matter how much I tried to catch her, I tried to stay up. I do remember one time I stayed up and I was like, this is the year that I'm going to see how baby Jesus makes it into the manger, right? I don't even know how. It must have been a team effort with my mom and my dad, right? Someone distracted me because one moment I turned around, he's not there. The next moment I turn around and he's there. And I can still feel the awe and the wonder of how did that happen? I'm pretty sure I was 11 or something years old. Like you're not a teeny tiny little child anymore that you can pull the wool over, right? But it was something that was so central to our Christmas, right? Another thing that a lot of the siblings talked about was this is the spot where all the presents would make it to underneath, right? So slowly on Christmas morning, which is when we would open the presents, there was nothing underneath, and then all of a sudden a few presents are there. And then all of a sudden, 10 more presents are there. And all of a sudden, I mean, you can vouch for this. It was entirely spilling out from underneath the manger. There's so many little things there, right? And it's everybody bringing their little presents and putting them under the manger, like under the tree. That's where we would do it, right? But what I was talking to Leah about this morning is that I feel like only she and I, maybe Mel, will remember that isn't how our Christmases started before then. right? Because we grew up not getting any presents at all. I think the younger siblings remember that whole aspect of, okay, there were presents under the tree and all, or under the manger. But we grew up with nothing. Like, we would get dressed on Christmas morning and go to my grandmother's house. And my grandmother and grandfather are the ones who had gifts for us under their tree, you know? And it was, don't think that it was like multiple gifts. It was like a gift per child, right? But it was like, wow, that's where we're getting the gifts, right? And we would always go never expecting anything. But then we'd walk away with a doll, a bear, whatever, right? And it wasn't until we were older that we were able to do little chores around the house. I feel like I've said this before. I used to cut the grass in our house for a can of soda. Okay, what is that back then? Because we used to go to Walmart and buy it for what, 25 cents?
Yeah.
Okay, so I literally cut the grass for 25 cents. But we would do any chore. Any chore. I remember the big chores that you could guarantee yourself a quarter. Okay? Scrub the windows. Scrub the sidewalk. And I'm talking about like scrub with bleach, with soap. Like, you're going to leave that pressure washed out there, okay? And you would do your best for that quarter. But that quarter with 3 other quarters would get you a trip to the dollar store. And now you can go over there and spend your dollar on whatever little thing you wanted. And it was never for ourselves. Like, everyone was excited to go to the dollar store to buy something for someone else, you know? And then that was the other thing that everyone echoed, was there is this really deep excitement that we feel over giving our gift rather than receiving our gift. And I think that that's something that's very unusual, right? Because most people, anyway, my understanding has always been that the reason that they set prices for gifts at a gift exchange is so that nobody feels like I got a pencil and they got a CD. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it was never like that. It was never, oh, but I got something that was less than that. It was always about, I can't wait to see their face when they open this. That's so exciting,
and
right?
yet, as the complete opposite of that.
For you, what was yours like?
Where are the presents?
Where are the presents?
We were expecting wherever we went. We'd go to my grandma's house. There were presents there after we had just opened up all the presents at our house. And then we'd go to my uncle's house and there were presents there. And then we'd go to my other grandmother's house and there were presents there. And the first thing we would say to each other is, what'd you get?
Wow. Yep. But that's normal, right? I feel like that is the norm, right? And for us, I don't know if it's because we didn't have. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Rudy, actually, I heard from him, I want to say, maybe it was this morning, maybe yesterday. My mind is a little bit all over the place. But he described it like being something out of a movie. To watch us all with this like giddy excitement over the presents we're giving each other, that it's something he didn't grow up with either. That it was all about, where are the presents, you know? So I don't really know.
That was one of the things I put on there.
Yes.
I had put on there.
And you hadn't shared that with me.
Yeah, I had put that on the chat.
What did you put?
Oh, God, I don't remember my exact
Just
words.
paraphrase what you said.
No,
Say it in your own words.
It was me like we were talking about like memories, and I said that I had a memory as an adult, because most of the memories that you guys were sharing were all stuff that you guys did as kids. Mm-hmm. But then I shared a memory that I had as an adult, and it was going over to your house, to your parents' house for Christmas morning, and having there be the chaos that it was, because it was absolute chaos. 8 siblings and the spouses that were there, plus our kids, plus your parents, plus whatever. Like breakfast, there was 8,000 pancakes being made and 10 pounds of bacon, and there was bacon and sausage and potatoes and God knows what else. It was just like this mess. And after we ate, then we sat around
in a big circle.
And it took 25 minutes just to start because people would be screaming and chanting and creating songs and all this.
I love that you remember that.
It was the wildest thing. And I remember
we do present time, open present, see what's inside.
Like for every single present, and there's 8,000 presents because everyone has brought these little things to everybody. But then, like, one of the things that I said, I was like, I said it on there. I said, I know you guys always saw me as quiet, but it was me just sitting back, making sure I didn't get hit in the crossfire because there was insanity. And then I remember one year, it was when the filters started coming out on Snapchat, I think. And one of your sisters was like, look at this filter. And it was like the big head filter. And they start walking around and everybody with big heads. And then everyone's laughing. And the distraction from opening the presents. And I'm like, man, we've been here since 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 2 in the afternoon. Are we going to have lunch? Are we taking a break for lunch? You know, like it was stuff like that. Like it was the wildest thing, but it was a memory for me that became like one of my top, like, you know, top 3, top 4, whatever things to remember for Christmas because it was so much fun. It was absolutely wild, and you can attest to it. I was quiet.
Well, because I feel like we're a lot when we're together. Well, you know,
you guys are a lot now.
I'm saying we still are a lot when we're all together because it's 8 of us. And I'm excluding every spouse because even Rudy doesn't participate when we start chanting and singing and all that stuff. He laughs the way you laugh, but you don't know the lyrics. Okay. For Thanksgiving, every Thanksgiving we sing the thankful song. Mm-hmm. Every Thanksgiving. I think some people join in, or at least you bob your head, right? And there's always a new person. This is the part that I love the most, right? There's always someone new who's joining us.
No, and then you look at everybody's faces. I don't even
think Olsey sings.
No, and then you look at everybody's faces, and everyone's looking at the new person to make it even that much more awkward because then they're like,
I didn't know what to
sing. What in the world is going on here?
I don't know the words. But we were always a musical family growing up, you know, and I think that because we had such little exposure to television and movies and all that stuff, where we were left to go play outside, right? Our imagination is something that is just not seen nowadays, right? I think that a lot of kids who grew up like that without TV and just playing outside and imagining, like they would have the same kind of reaction, right? But so for us, I feel like any little bit that we did see in a movie, we emulated that, right? So we watched Sound of Music and it struck a chord with us because we love to sing. We would sing for any reason. We would make up songs all the time. We even would do a little show that somebody found tapes of where we were doing a show and people would
recorded tapes?
And then they would do like their little thing. My brother, he called a radio station and sang a song that he made up. He rapped a song.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's the kind of stuff we would do, right? And so to us, it's very natural to break out into chants. I mean, anytime someone does something good, we sing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. Yeah. We have our own happy birthday song.
We brought Leah on. It's in one of our episodes. Leah sang it on the episode.
Oh my gosh. Did you just hear that recently?
I did.
I kind of had a little memory of that.
Yep.
Wow. I don't know if she's ever even heard that episode. But so, you know, this is just something so normal for us. And I'm thinking about, like, when you shared that, it was very touching to hear you say that. And people have echoed this to me as well, that when they read that, it was very touching because we are a lot and we're very chaotic. And you and I were recently watching A Christmas Story, right? And when they start opening presents, they're like, oh, who's going to play Santa? And it's like, oh, give a gift to so and so, right? And then they started off with the whole, you get a gift, right? And all of a sudden it cuts to everyone is opening gifts at the same time, ripping gifts. And then it's just a disaster of paper everywhere, which that's what our house looked like.
Well,
But
over the last couple of years, well, the last couple of years before everyone moved up to the Carolinas, where we had the last, where we were all together for Christmas morning, the paper wars would start.
well, it was snowballs.
Yeah, but it was like,
That's what it was.
yeah, it was just
we
like
would roll them
little
into
random,
snowballs.
little like somebody would fire one off from one corner to the other.
Paper cuts in the eyes and
It
everything.
was just like it was brutal.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna call her out on the chat.
Uh-oh.
Your mom was the worst.
Oh, and my mom's the worst at
Listen,
everything.
She was
She's
the
probably
worst.
laughing right now.
Yeah, she was in the back, and she would tell her, no, para, no.
And then it's
no,
like, throw me
no.
paper, give me
and
paper.
then she's like, give me paper. And she was the first one firing off across the
And
room.
why do you suppose we are the way we are? You know? So
You cannot expect anything less if
yeah.
the main instigator
Listen. But
she would feign being upset. She'd be like,
but to pivot back to what I was saying is like I would say that we grew up without, and I'll leave it like that, right? Because it was a lot without. Like we didn't have eating out at restaurants. We didn't go on vacations. Like we grew up without blank a lot of things, right? So to see how we would come together to pitch in whatever little bit everyone could to make someone else's dream come true, because somebody wanted an Xbox and now we have to pick up $300 or $400 from everybody to buy one person a ridiculously expensive gift in light of what everyone else has. And everyone would do it like that. Of course, yeah. I'm in, The no hesitation. When we were able to pay for my parents to go on a cruise and we gave it to them for Christmas, I mean, I think just
well, this past year.
No, this past year was, yeah,
I know.
we've all graduated.
But I'm saying this past
Okay.
year, you guys sent your parents to Switzerland.
For 2 weeks, So, I mean, and the thing is that it doesn't stop. How old are we? I'm 43, and I feel that on Christmas or anytime that we're there to give gifts, the excitement of I can't wait for you to see what I brought you. It's still there. Right? You haven't lost it, even though now people are used to getting gifts. Another thing is we did wish lists. Who as an adult gives gifts to adults, right? It's like, no, you're grown up. You don't get anything. But I feel like we're making up for lost time. I don't know. But
there were some pretty epic Christmas mornings.
I mean, yeah.
I remember it like there was like you could see like the stacks of like things that came off of the wish list. So you knew that every single thing that was sitting there with them, there was something that they wanted. They put that down.
There was someone who was in
it.
charge of the list.
Yeah.
Like it was so organized. I mean, we're so good at stuff like that. And then there was, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but when Leah had started a job at the bookstore next to our house, her very, very first paycheck was going to be on December 24th. I think that was a Thursday that year. Okay. And that's when her paycheck was coming in. And she asked the manager if they would cash it for her on the spot And she turned around and used every single penny at that store because it's Christmas Eve. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah, where
She
are you gonna
spent
go?
every single penny buying someone something from that store. Of course, they were more than happy to do that. Your entire check, you're giving it back to us? Of course. We'll accommodate you in any way. And it was a book here, a movie there, a CD here. And it's just like without regard. I feel that for someone who's more worldly, and by that I mean they've lived more, they're more sophisticated, I think they would look at that and they would say, well, that was just bad money management, and you don't know the value of the dollar, so that's actually very reckless and all that stuff. But what I see is you not being held by money, right? You're not motivated by it. You're not bound to it. It fits loosely in your hands. And I personally feel that that's the right view of money. The moment that you start being greedy with it and you're not generous anymore, I feel like that's when it'll bleed out of your pockets. But I've never seen a case where generosity doesn't come back to you tenfold. Do you disagree?
Nope, not at all. It's true though. The thing is that it's hard. It's hard when you don't have, and then you all of a sudden have to give, and that's where people get stuck. But there's so much joy in being able to give, especially when it's something like, and I know it's material a lot of times what ends up being what you're giving, but even something material, if it's well thought out, doesn't mean that they're excited because they physically have this thing. It's the thought that comes behind it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? Like the little Lego thing that I bought you with the beauty, it's the Beauty and the Beast Lego thing.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you saw randomly, and I had to take a chance to order it with Alibaba, whatever Express, and hope that it would get here because I never thought
Hope that they didn't steal your money.
And you were like, when I brought it and I gave it to you, you were like, "What is this?" Because it comes in like clear plastic bags with numbers on them, and it's just
no discernible shape or anything to it.
And then they had one little bag that had the Beast and Belle and the Rose, and you're like, "Is this the little Nook thing?" And it was like, the excitement behind it, wasn't because you got this thing, because this thing, once you build it and it sits as a display, is just another display on your bookshelf. But then when you look at it, you're like, I remember this.
You thought about me.
I remember like right now I'm looking over to the Nook that has all the stuff from The Office, right? And I'm looking at that and I don't see books, pop, and a little music box. What I see is we spent the day at the Office convention, and I got to sit down at Michael's desk, and we paid $10 more for the pops because we didn't wait and go to the table that was right next to it.
Oh
and the little music box, and then I'm remembering all the stuff that happened on that day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a memory that comes attached to it, that makes it fun. And like I said when I wrote it in the chat, like there are things that I'm remembering because I sat back and I was just absorbing because it was completely different,
Yeah.
It was a completely, and my parents, I remember there was a time when like my dad was using plastic wrap to hold his pants up that he got at the Salvation Army because we weren't in a position to be able to have Christmas. That was what it was, But then my mom got a really good job and my dad got a promotion and things changed for us, and it stayed that way when I was a kid. For you, those things didn't change until after you left. Because even with us, when we started at the beginning, we struggled, you know, and in recent years we've finally, I felt like we've, been able to kind of
Come to our
turn
own.
the corner, and we're like we're able to breathe, and we're grateful for that. But we waited 16 years to be able to buy a house. We waited 20 years to be able to buy a new car. I don't know, did we talk about this in the last podcast where we were talking about the cars? I heard it on one of the podcasts.
Oh,
The
okay.
thing is that since I've been listening to some of the old ones,
Yeah, it's all
there's
blurring
all
together.
blurring. But we talked about, we bought used cars, and they were always in the shop. They were always broken. If it wasn't one thing, it was another. It was like this constant thing. And, it's nice to be able to go out to our car and know that we're going to be able to turn on and go. Like it's.
Well, I was talking to my dad because he got to drive Bessie. Okay. And he was like, "Oh, that truck, right?" And I told him, that Ford and whoever else, they keep calling us. They want Bessie, right? They're offering an arm and a leg back to us, right? If you'll just sell us Bessie, and we'll give you
Well, they want
the world
they
to
want
buy
us
a new
to sell,
truck and all this
sell
stuff,
her,
right?
sell Bessie and buy a new one.
Right? And I told my dad, I'm riding Bessie until Bessie says I'm done. Okay? Like, I am not interested in the latest technology and the gadgets and the look and all that stuff. Like, Bessie's my first truck. Do you
Especially-
understand? Like, that is a dream. A dream. I dreamt of that truck. And now
especially
she's mine.
especially since we got her at 0% interest.
No.
In the
See,
middle of
that's where I don't think about those things.
I know, because you're not thinking about that stuff.
No.
But like for me, like I'm thinking about
To
it.
me,
I'm
there's
like,
a sentimental that's more than the 0%, which
I
should be
know.
the other way around.
I know, but what I'm saying is like, even with like the sentimental stuff doesn't go away. But what I'm saying is, it's nice the fact that like we don't need to worry about rushing to pay off the truck because we don't want to get any extra interest or any of that kind of stuff. We're just making our monthly payments, and we don't have to worry about the fact that there's, interest accruing and all this other kind of stuff. No, we're just paying down the truck, and we only have like 2 years left on the truck. It's like 26 payments that we have left, and like at the end of that, like it's gonna be like, whoa, she's ours completely, And we didn't buy a cheap truck. We bought a nice truck, and.
I don't know.
And-
I
and
don't
I'm-
know if that
and-
makes any sense, but she's my first. Like, I don't know how I move on from Bessie. I told my dad, I hope Bessie buries me.
It's not gonna be like that.
Or I hope Bessie is with me until I can't drive anymore.
Bro, are you kidding me? It's not going to be like that. You need to get your mind right.
Why? How
You're
much longer is Bessie
43.
going to be around?
You're 43 years old.
She's not going to be around for 40 more years?
Is this a real question?
Doesn't she just need like gas and oil changes and new
No.
tires?
40 years? How many miles do you think?
Bessie puts on a year?
Yeah.
10?
Try.
1,000? More?
Yeah. We've got, right now we're like at 15,000 miles a year is what our average is. We've had her for 4 years. We're just a little bit over 60,000.
Wait, how long is she going to last me?
Probably to like 300, 350,000
Well, how
miles.
many years is that?
Another 10 years maybe?
Oh, my.
Maybe more. I'm just saying like 10 more years. 10.
You know the red truck with the Christmas tree?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want her to be. I
Okay.
want the cars driving around to be like, wow, damn, that's old.
That's a 2020 right there.
That's a F-150.
That's all. That's what F150.
They don't make those no more.
Nope.
Why do we have to talk like that?
Because that's the way you gotta talk about it, you know?
But anyway, do you feel like there's anything for Christmas that we did as a family with our little family that was a favorite tradition or memory for you?
I think we did the city was one of the things that we always did. We kind of went away from the city after the kids got a little bit bigger.
No, we went away from the city when we moved here.
Why is that?
Because there is no spot for it.
In a house that's twice the size of the other ones.
That's twice the size. Do you know that every October, I'm going to say, I walk around the same space that I've walked around for the last 8 years trying to figure out where could the city go? What could I do? Even if it was a smaller scale, what would I do with it? Because the fact that we made that city work in teeny tiny townhouses and apartments and we can't make it work here baffles me.
Yeah, but we don't make it work here because you've taken the space for other things.
I know, but still, it's baffling, no?
It's by choice.
You know what I did see, though, on Instagram that I thought was pretty cool? I don't know how they make it work. It has to be with electric lights. Like, battery-powered lights. They created the runner on the table to be the city.
The center of the table?
The center of the table.
That's
but a
interesting.
long ways like that, right? And they even made like a skating pond.
You
They
could
put
use
little
the whole table.
Yeah,
the
we
city.
could.
Push it up against the wall and
We
do.
could, but that's too much. Like, I feel
See,
like that's too. Whoa.
I think that's the problem. I think the problem is you're like, I don't know if I feel
No,
like.
it needs to be right, but I don't know why I haven't been able to find something. Something like this would be nice.
No. No. We're going to end this podcast
Do you know
because
what I love
the ideas are flowing that don't need
do you know
time.
what I loved
What?
with our little family? Was you and I wrapping presents on the 24th. Super late at night because we were always at some event doing
and falling
something.
asleep.
No, and you were so good. You got to be so fast and so good that you would say, wait, how come I've wrapped all of this and you've only done 2?
Because you were going slow on purpose to let me
Why?
wrap it all. Because you were watching the movie.
Because we were watching It's a Wonderful Life.
You were watching the movie and I was rapping because I wanted to finish as fast as possible so I can go to sleep.
But it's a good memory I have.
It was a good memory.
Oh my gosh. So clearly we should not record at night
No.
or at the end of a long work day.
But we wanted.
I feel like we've already said this before, but it's because we're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
The Carnival Celebration.
Zooming through the sky. Little
Einstein. Anyways, so this is technically our Christmas episode, and we are ending it with a very, very big Merry Christmas from us to you.
Yes.
So
I wish you would have told me we were doing that.
Babe, we're gonna do.
Goodbye.
We're gonna do a Merry Christmas. Ready? Here we go. Should I do the radio? Do my
No.
No?
No.
Are you done?
Yes. You're done.
Yes. Okay. So Merry
Shutting
Christmas.
you down.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.